I'm the realest nigga on the internet. Where you heard that? On the internet. From me. Damn shit. Your parents may not be able to tell you how to survive when you're the age at when you're at that age that they were at when they had to figure out life, right? Because we're still figuring out life, right? This Life Talks with Joe Sinatra. Peep the hat. Teddy bear, but we ain't cuddly. But I do love hugs. I'm a hugger. Don't touch me. I'm like a Care Bear with a weapon. I'm like the Care Bears with the AKM or the M16. I see that picture years ago. It's like It's like this is me. I'm a Care Bear, but I get active or something like that. I just remember the picture of the Care Bear with the M16 in his hand. Welcome in, welcome in. Hope y'all having a great day. Hope y'all having a fantastic day. As each day goes and comes, that's what she said. As each days go and come, I get more enlightened and I get more closer to, not closer, right? But I would say I get more comfortable with the shamelessness of who I am and what I am and my purpose, right? As I shed my shame, I can shine my light. As you shed your shame, you'll be able to shine your light, right? When they say I'm not too proud to beg or I'm not too proud to say when I'm sorry or um, I ain't too shamed to, I ain't got no shame, I'll jump off a cliff or whatever and skydive and bungee jump, right? Or I ain't got no shame, I'll go outside with my pajamas on, my bonnet on my head, go to the store with my whole family, everybody in their pajamas. Mama got the bonnet on her head, right? And people will look at that as, oh, you have no shame or you have no home training, but she's just in her comfortability. She's comfortable in her own skin. I'm comfortable in my skin. He comfortable in his skin. They comfortable in their skin. So they're able to go out there and do anything that they're comfortable doing that people used to say, oh, that's not okay, or that's not right, or you got to do this, or you should do that. Like when you go on somebody's post, right? Or you watching content, right? Because I watch more YouTube than I do TV because I learn more from YouTube than I do on TV. When I go on TV, it's for, you know, minimal escape of this reality, minimal, you know, imaginative and creative, things that I could watch and enjoy and laugh at. 9 times out of 10, I just want to laugh, or I want to look at something that's funny, or I know something's about to come on, or they might have Lord of the Rings, or they might have Harry Potter, or any of those shows, or Troy, they might have something like that playing on the TV, and I'll be like, okay, this weekend I'll watch that, or this weekend I'll take some time and I'll watch that. But as I'm watching that, I'm still, you know, I'm still learning. I'm still holding firm to that checkpoint that I was telling y'all about, right? But I was talking to my father the other day, and I was overwhelmed. That's why I haven't been on here, right? I've been overwhelmed and trying to get my energy back to, not try to get my energy back, but as my energy and my power came back to me, I had to repurify my body. So I had to go through fasting. I had to go through building it back up, giving it what it needs. And now I'm at the point where, I could enjoy a little sweets, right? Because I can't throw my blood sugar or my blood pressure too far off, right? So, if I eat like a granola bar or a honey bun or I drink a Monster, I gotta back that up with, at least the equivalent to 4 bottles or 3 bottles of water, right? So, welcome in, y'all, right? But what I'm talking about now, that was like the intro, right? So what I'm talking about now is I asked my father, right, because I was feeling overwhelmed. How did you do it? I was asking God, like, how did my father do it when he was my age? And I remember being with my father when he was the age that I am now. And a lot of children today, with the age of our parents, we can remember how we were with our parents when they were our age now that we are today. And the way that they were handling situations, handling life. I remember I told y'all about my father fighting my grandfather, and I can still remember that scenario and that situation till this day. And a lot of people, would take that and see that it's okay to raise your hands to your parents, but a lot of people would also see it as, you know, it's not okay to raise your hands to your parents, and that's the kind of trauma that it could put on a young child's mind, right? Because I saw it before I was 11 years old. A lot of the things that I experienced, you know, up to watching somebody die, happened before I was 11 years old. Because, I'm pretty sure. I promise y'all, within 5 months, I'm gonna have this problem solved. Ain't gonna be no reconnecting or no connection. I ain't gonna be fighting with the internet. I got a job now, so pay off some debt, and I'm gonna get me a decent phone, so I don't have to worry about this device overheating and having to be in a place where I gotta have internet. You know, when you're starting over from scratch, you gotta start over. You gotta start over with everything, right? And it just so happened that the same night, the same evening I left my sister's house is the same evening my phone broke. So that was a sign right there. Anything from the past, anything that I have from someone else, or anything that I have linked to someone else, I had to get rid of it, or it got rid of itself, or you know, it served its purpose and it had to go. Even when I was in Jersey and I got kicked out of the house that me and my father built with our hands, I had to leave a whole bunch of stuff. I had my whole life in a few bags. And as I was staying with my friend, and then I got us a place, and we started living together, I started getting a little bit more stuff. When I was living with one of my exes in Jersey, my job, it gave me the ability to get like a whole bunch of stuff. Like I remember I told y'all about, getting her the Beats pill, not the Beats pill, but the beat box, the headphones, that the first set of beats from Dre. Like, I was spoiling her with that shit. So I was getting a whole bunch of nonsense. Plus I had a whole bunch of clothes. And majority of the clothes, I had to get rid of it. Any big type of electronics or anything like that, I had to get rid of all of that. So my life is still in a couple bags, and I've been living like that for the better part of 10 years now. And when I say I'm grateful, I really do mean that I'm grateful, because I can't forget any face that I've ever seen in my life. I remember every single face. I might not remember your name, but I remember your face. My imagination is the greatest. I have a great imagination. And before the internet cut off, I was talking about me having an uncle on the East Coast, and New York being the Caribbean capital of America. If you come from the Caribbean, you either going to New York or you going to Florida. There ain't really no other place to go. If you know somebody in America and they live somewhere within the central states, then you'll go there. But other than that, you're going to New York or you're going to Florida. If you don't go to New York and you go to Florida, it's because New York is cold as fuck. Yo, I miss Brooklyn, to be honest with you. I miss my cousin Jelani. We used to have mad fun. just being immature, but also mature, right? Enjoying life, but also growing, having responsibilities, but also trying to have freedom and be a rebel. But then we had to, go separate ways. And I feel like the only reason I stopped talking to anybody is because they were also linked to my sister. And I didn't want anybody to go back and tell her anything that I had going on. So I didn't block my family, I just unfollowed them. But anybody that I knew, that my sister also knew, I had to block them because I didn't want her, you know. I don't like talking about I don't like talking about things that don't serve me, but I understand that I have to speak about my story, and I have to, you know, not have to, but I want to aid other people in not being stuck and not being forced by love to be connected with anybody or anything that you honestly don't feel comfortable or don't feel safe being connected to, right? Because it's very easy to lose your life. It's very easy to lose your life. Today, it's a lot easier to lose your life than yesterday, because it's not a bigger world, because it's less in the world today, but it's more plastic than it is, brick and mortar, right? We had a lot more structures in the past. Today we have fictitious structures, right? Like we have a metaverse where you could put on goggles and go into another reality where nothing exists, but everything only exists in your mind. Not even in your mind, everything only exists on the internet. And you got to put on some goggles to get there, but you take the goggles off and you're stuck with the ugly parts of the matrix, when they wasn't in the matrix anymore, and they were just in their regular clothes eating that soup or that porridge or whatever the hell they was eating. But yeah, I had to cut it all off, because I had to realize my faults and my part that I played in everybody else's life. I had to realize that, and I had to get right with myself. I was always right with God. I had to get right with myself. And then once I got right with myself, I realized that I was always right with God. I was just wrong for everybody else. But I'm right for myself, because I got right with myself. And once you get right with yourself, you'll be able to not only conquer today like your parents had when they were your age, but you will be able to thrive and teach and even talk to your parents if they're still here. Hopefully they are. I wouldn't want anybody to not be without their parents, because I know what it feels like to not have your mother. And I know what it feels like to have a father that, you feel doesn't like you or doesn't love you. I know what it feels like to feel abused. Your parents might not think they're abusing you, but like I said before, you might forget the effect that you have on somebody else. That's why you must be careful with who you touch. And that's why I'm careful when I get on here and I speak. Because even if it touches one person's heart, I want it to be a gentle touch. It could be firm, but it will also be soft and gentle, just like the earth. Very soft, but unforgiving. Because the earth, you could walk on the earth and you could punch holes and dig holes and all that, and the earth is so soft. You could use your hands and scoop out some dirt, put a seed in there, put the dirt back over it, pour some water, and a strong tree will start growing out of that soft earth. Or big ass sinkhole swallow up the whole neighborhood out of nowhere in the middle of the night. Not night, in the middle of dark. Right? So when the flies start coming, that's when I know I'm doing something right. Because it's constant evil eye on my life. It's constant, death wishes on my life. It's constant, you know, photocopying and trying to steal ideas and trying to replicate the words that are coming out of my mouth. Because I guess they think that everybody comes from Rashad, right? Because after Rashad started his shit, everybody started calling Rashad. Well, a lot of people started calling Rashad's name, and they started building platforms off of the things that he was saying. So when I'm saying what I'm saying, and I've been saying this my whole entire life, you can go on Facebook, any of the Facebook that says Tro Sinatra, any of the Instagrams that you find out there that says Tro Sinatra, you see that I'm speaking just like this, just like this, prophetic, like a preacher. You know, my friends used to say, "Oh, you preaching," but I guess since you know, they don't think that what I'm saying comes from my heart. When it comes from my heart, I was the one that cried for help to change this world. I birthed this woke movement with my heart alone, with my tears alone, with my wishes alone, with my dreams alone, and with my unshakable, unsatiable, unquenchable faith. I birthed a movement of people that speak highly of themselves, they forgive their families, and they move with purpose. Every step they take is with purpose. Every time they open their mouth to speak is with a purpose. I represent the neglected, castaway, the ones they call so-called black sheep, the ones they call ugly duckling, the ones that didn't get picked because they were different, the ones that wasn't favored, the ones that ain't the favorite, the ones that ain't spoiled with trinkets and gifts, but the ones that spoiled with discipline and ass whoopings. Either you got your ass whooped by your parents, or you got your ass whooped by life. And you took your ass whoopings, and you didn't do what the fuck you got your ass whooped for again. And so you rose and evolved from whatever situation that was. So I continue my work because I see a lot of people, the same people that I spoke about that use my ideas and speak like I speak, not the ones that's trying to stop me from doing what I'm doing, but the ones that's encouraged, inspired by what I'm doing, to do what they're doing, to do what they love. I told you, you got to do what you love, not because somebody else says it. Don't go to anybody else and ask them what you should do. Do what you do and then go back and tell them what you've done. So when they start telling their negativity and all that bullshit about how it ain't gonna work, you gonna already show them that motherfucker work. So what the fuck you talking about? I was just telling you what I was gonna do just to see if your ass was gonna be supportive, or if your ass was gonna show me that negative or that fear, or you was gonna spit that fucking fear on my ideas. So I did it first, and then I went. I learned it first, and then I came on here and I taught y'all. I'm a master student. I'm hesitant to call myself a teacher because everybody calls themselves master teacher this and master teacher that, but they can't humble themselves to no master. They don't humble themselves to nobody. They don't even humble themselves to the people that support them. They talk shit to the people that support them, and they think that belittling people and treating people with Stockholm syndrome is going to make them support them. You can't insult the people that support you. The one person that watches my live, the 2 thumbs up that I have, is the most amazing thing that ever happened in any day that I have that I get on here. If I get 1 thumb up, if anybody come in there and I get 1 subscriber, I'm grateful for that because that's 1 heart that I touched. And you don't owe me anything. You don't owe me anything. And I will never ask you for anything. I get on here to give you life. I get on here to give you my heart, to make sure that when I lay my head at day's end, I said everything that I had to say. And now I'm thinking of more things that I'm going to get out of my bed after I'm rested. As I rise the next day, I'm going to get on here and say some more stuff so I can make sure my heart is empty. Because my heart is constantly filled with ideas and creativity. My heart is constantly filled with poetry. My heart is constantly filled with stories and ideas. That's why when I get my chance and my opportunity, just like I haven't talked down or talked bad about anybody, I'm going to continue to not talk bad or talk down to anybody, because when my time comes, I'm going to go hard. I can't focus on what anybody else is doing, because I got to give that to God. If you make me your enemy, that's your problem with God, because you are not my enemy. My enemy is the system. If I get into a battle with anybody, it'll be the devil, right? But that doesn't mean I'm without violence. Meek don't mean weak. And I'll tell y'all this again. Meek does not mean weak. Meek is the ones with the weapon and the knowledge to use them and choose to keep their weapons sheathed, like a warrior in a garden. He can't wield his sword with those roses and those flowers around, because he got to protect those roses and those flowers. So he keeps his weapons sheathed. But the minute somebody comes to burn down that garden, the minute somebody comes to poach from that garden, the minute somebody comes to harm one of those animals that live in that Eden, oh, that sword is ready. And when he draws his sword, it's flames. And that's me, the warrior in the garden. I'm the son of Eve. I'm the son of Anne. I'm the son of Eve. The beekeeper, baby. And I like how I did this live. I feel like I did it the London way, the London style, baby.